Good afternoon, everyone. This is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. I have to learn something. I have Safari and also Chrome. Because I'm Mac oriented, I always start my YouTube lives on Safari for the browser, and it always hangs up. So I'm sorry I'm 2 minutes late. So I had to switch over to Chrome. Anyhow, I'm here today to share with you a deck that's going to be released next month through Scarabeo. And it's called the Essential Tarot. And basically, this deck is very unique. I'm going to show the box, and I'm going to do a different way of showing how to use this deck in relation to the Rider-Waite-Smith. So I'm going to angle this down a little bit more here. So this deck is very simple. It deals with symbology and color. It gets you to look at the tarot differently. It almost settles the mind down a little bit because you don't have a busy landscape. You don't have people in this deck. And you're just focused on the images that are featured in the suits and in the major arcana. So it's a nice way of working with the tarot, and also it's a great way to kind of go back to basics. There are a few people who've been doing the tarot for quite some time, and they enjoy working with the RWS deck, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm actually going to bring out my very first Rider-Waite-Smith deck, my very first deck. It's 30 years old, and I'm going to use the imagery from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck in comparison to the Essential Tarot. So this is going to be a little long. I'll try and do it in over an hour, but I doubt that's going to happen because there's information I'd like to share with people. So let's go in. I'm going to show you the box. It's very simple. There we go. So this is the color scheme throughout the deck. And it goes through the color prisms from gray to the darker shades of blue to got green, blue, so on and so forth. And this is created by Pablo Montt. Let's see if I can go this way here. Very straightforward. And it has a flip-top box. Let's see. Nothing inside. The instruction booklet, it's like a little white book. Scarabeo does their little booklets in English, Italian, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. This is in black and white, and the pages for each language average about 21. So the print's so small, I don't know if I can even show this to you. This is how it is. Very basic. Major arcana, the interpretation of the Fool, the Magician. It talks about the symbology, the color, so on and so forth. They did one tiny error. There is the Hierophant that's in here, but in the book it says the Pope. It is printed in Italy, so maybe that's just the way they want to refer it in the book as the Pope. Yeah, it's just very basic. The wands, it gives a description of the ace, like 2 lines, 2s, 3s, 4s. It's the same throughout the entire suit. So it's very basic. I want to spend time on the cards right now. So again, this is the Essential Tarot. Here we go. By Pablo Montt. It'll be available in July, so I think you can already pre-order it or possibly start getting it shipped over to you if you're interested in the deck. This deck is really good for chakra work because it deals with the 7 colors. There's no layouts that are suggested. in this tarot or in this booklet, but there's many of layouts that you can do. I do a simple 7-card chakra layout from the root all the way down to the crown, or all the way up to the crown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go from the bottom, 1, all the way up to the top. For the crown, 7. So I'll kind of walk you through this. So this is what I'm going to do. So here's the Fool. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Fool and then compare, like I said earlier, some of these cards with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Let me show you the back. This is the inset card that comes with it. I just love those colors. Very, very healing. There we go. And this is the back of the card. It's basically gray, and then we have the color system right there. And this is actually the portal, which you'll see in the Major Arcana, Minor Arcana. They have the archway, and then when we get to the Minor Arcana, the archway changes shape. It's still an archway, but it's more of a point. So that's the back of the cards. It's beautiful. So here's the Fool. Now I know the lighting here isn't doing justice. This is a full gray card. As you see here, it's like dark gray, and then it starts going light. Now we have here the symbol of the rose. Okay. Now if you look at your Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you will see what the Fool is holding. So throughout the Major Arcana, we'll see through the archetypes, we're going to see some specific reference or symbol from that archetype, and it's emphasized in this deck of the Essential Tarot. So I think that's really beautiful. So if you do want to connect with your Rider-Waite-Smith deck with this, I think it's wonderful. This deck is great for anyone starting out. It's very simple, and the imagery will help you focus more on the energy of the card. So that's the Fool. I have to do this in such a way that I don't get these messed up. Okay, our second card. Okay, so here's the Magician. Okay, so now we're starting to see the colors merging with the energy of each of the archetypes. Okay, so we have the Magician. We're going from purple. We're going to this beautiful red violet. We see the symbology. All this is gray. So your focus is set here on the center. And we have a very faint, not very faint, but we have a gray background, which is good. There's no distractions. You focus right on the energy of this card. I'm going to go forward. This is the Magician. Okay, so here we are. Here we have the elements. Okay, and again, throughout this deck, there are no people. There's no life forms that are in here. There's no environment. There's no landscape of any sort. So you're focused primarily on the deck. And here we see the symbols that the Magician here is carrying. Okay. So as I'm showing you the Essential Tarot deck, start looking at the colors, because our colors are going to start shifting. So let's do this. Sorry if I'm taking time in between, because I have this in an order. I do not want to deviate from the order. Okay. So if you remember the coloring that you saw in the Magician, okay, it's really hard to see, but here, let me back up. Here we have the violet color right here, and we're starting to fade down to blue. This is the High Priestess card. Okay, so we have the crescent moon. We have the 2 pillars signifying the realms, the conscious and the subconscious. And if you watch my watch videos I've done in the past and in the future, my two keywords that I always talk about, conscious and subconscious. That's coming up very frequent in my reviews and discussions, because that's where we are. So here we see the symbology again, the crescent moon. You see the cross right there centered. You see the difference in energy between the two cards? You're just drawn into the imagery and the symbology. It's very meditative. And here, there's information, detail, in the Rider-Waite-Smith. A little bit more that can help you delve into your reading more. But here our focus is right on the High Priestess symbology. Okay, so that is card 2. Okay, 3. These are beautiful Empress cards. Okay, so our colors are now cooling a little bit. It's like a dark green. It doesn't show it here. It's like a dark green and then starts going to an aqua blue around the crown area. Okay. So look at the symbology again. Okay. Here we have the Empress, her crown. And then the heart, ruling Venus. And the Rider-Waite-Smith, and then here. Pablo Montt just picked up on the key elements, the key symbology from the Rider-Waite-Smith, and just focused right on that, the Empress card, which I think is just beautiful. Okay. Empress card. Or Emperor, so sorry. Okay. So again, our colors are moving. I'll bring the Empress card back. Okay, so we're going from green here. We're going up green, and now we're starting to go yellow-green to like yellow. So the color, the energy of the color movement of this deck goes down, up, down, up. So when you see the next series of cards, focus on the crown, the top part of the card. And when I show you the next card, that color here, which is a green, is going to show up. Or I'm sorry, the color that's here is going to show up on the top portion of the next card. So let me show you the Emperor in comparison. Okay, so we have the cross, the crown, and in some decks they have the orb is usually set up like this. There's usually an orb with a 4-way cross there. And 4 is the number of the Emperor. The more I look at these cards, the more I can find many uses for. So this is great. I think when you have a deck that's very simple, it's always wonderful to find other uses for it. So here's 5. It's a Hierophant. We've got the cross keys. We have the triple cross. Again, look at the colors. So we're going yellow. This is like spiritual knowledge, higher thinking, traditional ways. So the triple cross are the 3 realms. I'm going to just explain very quickly. This realm here relates to the underworld, what we don't see, the lower plane. This is our physical realm, our conscious realm. This is where we are. And then the shorter cross right there is our higher, the higher realm, spiritual realm. This is what we're trying to focus on and balance. All 3 of these. So here we have the triple cross and the Hierophant. And we have the cross keys signifying the traditional and modern aspects of thinking and learning. It's a Hierophant. Lovers. Oh. Okay. So when you see this card right off the bat, I mean, when I first saw this, it looked like sperm. But it's supposed to be depicting a serpent and the energy that is moving up the chakras. And here we see the transition of colors. This is almost going from root chakra to sacral to solar plexus. Now here, as I had mentioned earlier, and I'm showing the Rider-Waite-Smith in comparison to the symbology, the Rider-Waite-Smith does not have anything in common with this card. We have the snake, and that's pretty much it. And the flames, I take that back. The fiery energy of masculine energy. And again, there's no angel. You know, it allows you to focus just on the card itself and its energy. So here's our chariot. And our colors are changing here again. We're going from, it's actually like an orangey red color. We're going to more of a cooler red violet. It's our chariot. And then representing the wheel, the movement, the balance of opposites. We have the wings here, dark, light, merging both realms. We have the stars, which you see here. So as I'm showing this, I'd be really curious to get feedback and hear how people feel about the imagery that they're seeing, because it's a very stark difference. There's a lot to see here when you're doing your reading, and then you look at this. So if you can understand the energy between these two different cards, this one really gets you to focus. It's a beautiful deck. Very beautiful deck. Strength. Okay, so we have the laurel. We have the infinity and the escape. And again, if you're just popping in, this is the Essential Tarot. And this deck focuses on the symbology and colors of doing tarot readings and interpreting. This is very simple. Again, look at the Strength card here. The energy in it. And then here. symbology of the lantern. Again, our colors are shifting, and they repeat themselves. The colors, they seem to go through like 7 stages of colors, which is the 7 colors related to the chakras. So we'll start seeing this color scheme again throughout the series, Major and Minor Arcana. I'm doing this backwards, but that's okay. So Wheel of Fortune. We have the 4 fixed elements on our corners. Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius. I'm missing one other one. It's not coming to mind right now. So here we're focused on the wheel itself. Colors of the sky, going from both colors to the sky. Let's adjust this card. Color schemes going from our green to yellow. I'm going to show you the back of the cards again. Again, it's showing the movement, the energy that's happening throughout the cards. So here we have the Hangman. So the emphasis is on the rope. This may visually be difficult for some people to get, but the Hangman, they'll understand the connection between the realms. The Death card I love. We have the flag here with the rose, the white rose. And I'll just go a little closer so you can see it. Slightly different. Okay, so here the color shifted. The Hangman was all yellow. We didn't have a transition into like an orange color. But I just love this. If I was to just see this. Very simple. You just focus on the flower itself. I'm probably drawn more to this card so much because of the rose that's being depicted here. And also it's reversed. If you look, usually the point of the rose is facing upward. And it's the same here. Both roses, the point's facing down. It's subtle. It's subtle. Again, death is the meaning of transformation and change. Temperance card. About balancing of elements. Some energy here. why. I'm sorry. My mind has been on a blank the last few days, so my apologies if I'm getting my symbols mixed up. Alrighty, here's the devil. Okay. The chain, and of course we see here inverted pentagram. Turn upside down so you can see. The color scheme for this is actually interesting for the devil. We're going from our red violet down to our purple, showing the transition between, well, the transition that's going in within our subconscious. We're going deeper, going into our deeper purple being for spirituality, facing our inner fears and desires that just may not be good for us. It's the devil. Pretty straightforward, that lightning bolt. So let's go to Star card, Aquarius. The same amount of stars, almost in the same pattern, exactly the same pattern. So we go to just see the relationship there. We'll be talking less, let the cards speak for themselves. Here's the moon. Oh. So we have the two pillars. We're in between two worlds. The moon. The moon is related to the high priestess, where when you saw the high priestess card, she was right in between these two pillars. Again, dealing with the subconscious realm. Sun card. So I think you get the gist of it. I won't bring out the Rider-Waite-Smith for all of them. Judgment. Okay, and we have a transition of colors here as well. And lastly, our world. Now we're going back to where we were with the Magician card. Not so much the Fool, because the Fool has no color. The Fool, I'll show you right here. This is the beginning. It's going to explore. So as you see with the Major Arcana, as the Fool begins its exploration, it starts taking in the color, the experience of each of these archetypes. And you see here, color scheme from the Magician, Tower, the World. And then we have the Laurel again, for success and completion. the cross representing the 4 elements. So that's our major arcana from the Essential Tarot. Let's do, the order's a little different within this deck. So here I'm not going to bring the Rider-Waite-Smith. I just want to use that as a reference. So when you see the major arcana in relation to the Essential Tarot, and if you have the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's good. Just bring it out and just compare it. The images are pretty similar throughout the Rider-Waite-Smith. Just the images, like the 2s, 3s, and 4 of each suit. But the thing that's different is the color, the coloring that they use. So when I show you the elements, cups won't be signified for the color blue or any of those hues. Wands, you're not going to see reds or oranges, so on and so forth. This deck is primarily through the cycle of color that you will see. So we're going to go with cups. Here's our Ace of Cups. Now, all the aces in this deck, they all start out with the same color scheme. So when you get the Essential Tarot, all the aces will have this color scheme. The only thing that's different is going to be the suit element, or I'm sorry, the suit itself. So you'll have the same color for Aces of Wands, Ace of Swords, same color scheme. Oh. So 2 cups. So also keep in mind, it's very subtle. The shape of our arch has changed. So we had an archway, and I believe it gave a name for this specific kind of arch. An ogive. I'm probably mispronouncing it. This is considered to be an ogive, or an ogive arch. And doesn't explain why the change in the shape of the arch. So here's our 3 of Cups. And here we have just a gray symbol, or a gray background, surrounded by the blues of this card. 3 of Cups. So the gray is prominent in some of the cards. It's not throughout. And this is a deck that I will have to work with more. But I would say the gray is just keeping in mind where we're coming from. The gray, remember, is the color of the Fool, or the lack of color. I'll show it again. So just maybe I would possibly interpret this, the band of gray that we see throughout the elements, just as a form of presence of who we are and that we're there experiencing what's going on within each of the elements. So the 4 of Cups. Five of Cups, there we go. And the backdrop is the same. Oops. Right here. It's all gray with the focus on the yellow. And 5 of Cups. And here we have a transition of color from our orange down to our reds. So 6 of Cups. What's interesting too is that as I'm looking at this deck, because of the elements and the color, when you look at this, you want to almost think like with each card, this design here, the gray backdrop is changing. It isn't. It kind of gives like an indication when you look at these cards quickly, like this backdrop, the gray backdrop is changing. It isn't. It's actually just the color itself and the placement of the symbols. It's interesting. Let's look at this card, and then when I show you the next card, the backdrop looks slightly different, but it isn't. It's like the way our subconscious reads into these cards. You're going to have a different experience with each one. Those are 9 of Cups. And here's our 10 of Cups. Again, color transition. This card does not have any gray bar that's coming in or a gray square. It's just completion. Okay, so again, our color scheme is changing. I just want to keep emphasizing that. This is green, 10 of Cups. We're in the blue state. Here we're in the green. And then with green, we're starting to transcend to our yellow. Here's our Page of Cups. Knight of Cups. With the shield behind it. See, doesn't that background look different from the previous card? Probably not so much here. It's just there's subtle nuances in each of these cards that just makes like the background is different. The Queen of Cups. So King of Cups. And the colors that you see in the court cards, like for King of Wands and Swords, this color will be the same. So we kind of have to get out of the habit of looking at all blues and blue-greens for the cups. All right, let's do our wands. Okay, and as I had mentioned, all the aces, same color scheme. I'll show you what I mean. This card, the suit that we were just going through. Here's our Ace of Cups. So the color scheme is the same. Let me go back here. Here is our Ace of Wands. All the wands have a little wrapped flag around the post. Two of Wands. And I'll flip the back so you can see the back. There's our bar again. Actually, maybe this is, let's see here. Does it have it in the 3? Yeah, it seems like after the 2 series in the suites, we start seeing the light gray bar, the dark gray bar, or squares showing up. So here's our 3 of Wands. It doesn't give an explanation of it in the book. So this is something that we will have to explore individually when using this deck. And there's more gray there. And the gray is, again, the color related to the Fool, or the lack of color, I should say. So I would just say, again, the Fool, this is just, the gray symbolizes just parts of who we are, our conscious realm. So, oops, there we go. 5 of Wands. And there's 6. So you have the darker gray streak going right across. I have to think more about the symbology of the bars. It could also be a form of movement, a shift that's going on with within those specific cards that have the gray. Have the gray in it. Here's our 8 of Wands. There's a gray bar again. Differently, our color scheme is also changing. It's in the same order. So you get like 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles. You'll see that same color scheme there. 10 of Wands. And so now our court cards. Our pages will have the laurel around it. Excuse me. And then we have our shield for the night. Again, showing different shades of gray. Begin to think the more I'm looking through this deck, I'm thinking that the different shades of gray is our personal existence. That's going to be my interpretation for using that deck. So Queen of Wands. And our King of Wands. Then I'm going to state that this is that the flag just indicates movement, the energy of the wands. Since there's no animal or personal or individual person reference to the wands. So again, as I was saying, this deck gets you to think differently. It actually pulls you away from how we normally use the deck and how we rely on certain symbology and images that represent things. So it gets us away from that kind of thinking. And I actually prefer decks, for the most part, that don't, like decks that I work with, that don't have too many people or too many environments. So that this is why this deck I'm really enjoying, because you're focusing right on the image itself. I'm going to do Swords, and then we're going to end with Pentacles. Beautiful sword there. Okay, so again, we have the gray bar. A softer rendition of the Three of Swords. We just have the Three of Swords, not literally impaling a heart, but we see it crossing behind it. And again, our gray background, still the same, no change. But illusionary-wise, when you're looking at this deck, the background looks like it's changing. The Four of Swords. Again, our color scheme is going, it's transitioning through. The placement of the gray is interesting with this. It's just like a little swash. So again, as I'm showing this, let me know what you think. How the colors, how the deck, how the symbology is connecting with you. And again, my interpretation of this, of the gray that we see, either going diagonal or going up, or if it's squared, I would just interpret this as an indication of our conscious self. Pablo doesn't give a description of the colors, their meanings or whatnot, so it's really open to us, to how we want to interpret this deck. Seven of Swords. A bit cosmic, this deck. So we have the images, the symbolic images set against a color cosmic star-filled sky. Here's our Eight of Swords, really busy. There's that long vertical gray bar. Ten of Swords. This one. This, just to kind of deviate a little bit, the stock is like a semi-glossy, more matte than anything else. Here is our pages, our Page of Swords. Again, our colors are transitioning. All the pages have the laurel, indicating knowledge and how we're going to use that knowledge. And the Knight is indicated through the shield, and we have the symbol of the sword. Same color scheme for the court cards, the Knights. Throughout the minor arcana, yellow. It's from a light yellow to a darker yellow. And then we have our Queen. Color transition of this is beautiful. More nurturing, the colors, warm colors. Go from the orange, which is for good health and vitality. And then we start going into the darker shades of, it's like a warm orangey color, warm yellow orange. And then we go to the bold colors, red, violet, King of Swords. So I'm being careful not to say too much about this deck because I haven't worked with it. I missed the card here, so sorry. I'm going to do it like this here. I missed the 9 of Swords. Here's our 8. I want you to see the transition. Here's our 9 of Swords. No, oh God. And then our 10 of Swords. Oh dear. My cat just walked through the door with a little surprise in his mouth. You can take that outside, please. Dear. Alrighty, I'm gonna finish this up and then tend to this little gift. Oh, baby. I just don't want him to toss it over here. Okay, so let's go to live video. Okay, here we go to our Pentacles. Beautiful bold Pentacles. All the aces have the clouds underneath. Here's our 2 of Pentacles. The movement, the balance of our material life, family, our connections, the movement. And again, it's the same color scheme. Baby. Here's the 3 of Pentacles, which are now they're higher up. Why the placement of these? I think probably just to indicate movement. So 2, 3. Watch the movement of the Pentacles. 3. Before we go down, here's our bar again, our gray bar. The gray bar I'm talking about is this here, which I feel represents our conscious self, the gray bar itself, and our connection to the suit itself. Okay, so here's our 5 of Pentacles. Again, we have a large bar there. And again, this card's a little different because we usually see a scene or indication of conflict or struggle. I would probably interpret the 5 of Pentacles using this card. Maybe the pressure that's involving with the conscious self and just being pushed up into the corner of our archway here. So again, it is different. And then our shape changes for our triangle, conscious self. 6 of Pentacles. Harmonious, trying to get things back in balance. You're silly, you know that. All right, here's our 7 of Pentacles. What's this one? 8 of Pentacles. Okay, and again, If people are jumping in and out of this viewing, our colors are shifting throughout the entire major and minor arcana of this deck, so it's beautiful. Showing the changing of energy throughout each of the elements. Here's our Nine of Wands. There's the bar again, different shape, different connection. Ten of Pentacles. Again, the gray has changed. Spirit. I want to get through this really quick here. Okay. Page of Pentacles. We're going to our court cards here. Similar color scheme. All our pages, all the court cards. I'm sorry, I'm repetitive. Run the same. Wow. You're a nut. My cat just put his gift inside my shoe. Now he has it out. Oh boy. Okay, so here's the Knight of Pentacles. Yellow. See how much I love you guys? I'm not stopping this video while my cat is playing with a dead something that he just bought in the house. Here's the Queen of Pentacles. Nope, it's still the same. There's such subtle movement. I actually thought the outside shape of this orb had changed, but it's actually the same. Again, the gray related to our conscious state, how we connect to everything within each card. Here's our King of Pentacles. Show you these two. And that is the Essential Tarot. The Essential Tarot by Pablo Montt. This deck, I believe you can already order. It's supposed to be available in July. I was able to get an advanced deck to review, and I love this deck. It's the energy that it has. It's useful. You can use it cross-purpose to do aura readings even, because the coloring that shows throughout the deck shows the shifts and changes that we all go through within, certain situations. It's wonderful. Again, I just want to show the back of the card so you could see the different energy that comes from this deck. Again, it's very simple. I'm going to put a timestamp with this video, so you can go towards the major arcana and the minor arcana, and then my closing thoughts about the deck and any additional information. So if you have questions or comments, please let me know. I'm on Instagram. It's the Mystic Rose Tarot on Instagram. YouTube, you have my name here, the Mystic Rose Tarot. And on Mondays, I'm going to do this twice a month. I do something called Mystic Moon Mondays, where I discuss moon energy. I have a moon oracle deck that I will refer to based on the position and the sign that the moon is in. So we can discuss that and the influence that the moon has on us. And then right now, I'm in the process of doing dream work and shadow work. So I want to do a separate video and discuss working with the tarot using, working with shadow through the tarot and doing our dream work with the tarot. There's been a lot of talk going on about how things are and how we're really facing our inner issues and challenges. So I think this is a wonderful time, especially since we're in the sun sign of Cancer, which deals with emotions and intuitive energy. I think this is a really good time to discuss this kind of energy and to start working with that. So I will do a video of that maybe next week. I'll schedule it so that you can see. My name's Amy. I'm the Mystic Rose Tarot, and you've been watching the video of the Essential Tarot by Pablo Montt, and it's through Scarabeo, and you can actually get it through Llewelyn books. All right. Thanks so much. I hope to see you this Monday. It's when I'm going to have my Mystic Moon Monday readings. And have a wonderful weekend. Again, any questions or comments that you have, please let me know. Have a wonderful weekend.